Today's Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, and I'm going to keep reading Isaiah chapter 24. This is a really, really cool chapter of Isaiah. It's talking about the end of the world. So I don't really have a ton to say about it, other than I do believe that Isaiah was prophesizing about the end of the world at various times. And I think that this is one of them. And I think that there's some hints for why this is talking about the end of the world, just especially the specific prophecies talking about the sun and the moon get repeated at other parts of the Bible where it's more clear that it's the end of the world that's being talked about. Oh, also here, the big earthquake, the big one, is mentioned in this chapter. And that's something that I've always grown up hearing about. When you grow up on the West Coast, people have always been talking about waiting for the big one, the big earthquake. And in the end, the earth is going to shake like it's probably never shaken before, I would imagine. And yeah, there's going to be a huge earthquake in the end. So that's in this chapter too. All right, I'm just going to read it. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. I mean, that you could take that as a flat earth reference. You can't turn a ball upside down. And it shall be, and this, I guess I wanted to say this. I think that this could be prophesizing that in the end, this could be the whole communism thing, and why communism is such a big deal, why people were freaking out about communism. I think that a communist type government is talking about this idea in this verse. And so I think Isaiah prophesied about some sort of communist type government in the end. And notice that today people try to make everything about equality. People today think that everything should be equal, to the point of stomping down people that are in better positions to try to even things out. They agree with the idea today of taking people that have more and taking it away from them and trying to shove it at people that have less. And that's kind of this idea. Whereas the natural order of things, various levels of individuals, is just a natural part of life. And so maybe that's why it's Satan's backwards way of, and one of those ways where they try to frame it in a good light. Oh, everybody's the same. Everybody's equal. Everybody should have a fair share. But it's one of those things you learn about later, like, oh, there's probably a reason that things aren't like that. Anyways, just when I read this, it's very interesting, and it reminds me of some sort of forced communism. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. So I think verse 2 means it's going to be just like an equal playing field completely. And in the end, when there's the fake alien invasion and stuff, and the New World Order really comes about, world governments are more or less dissolved, and I think it could be total chaos and everybody on the same level. Maybe everybody gets a number assigned to them, a world citizen number, and anybody who doesn't take the mark of the beast is rejected from society. Anyways, I hope you don't mind me rambling about this stuff, but it's kind of relevant to today. I really honestly think that we're close to the end of the world, that many of us will see it happen in our lifetimes. And of course, there's going to be naysayers that say, well, people have always been saying that. And I think that part of God's plan is he wants his children to be ready. He wants every generation to feel like it's the end. But today there are just so many inexcusable signs, like the sun and the moon being brighter, that get talked about later in Isaiah. We'll get to that. There are just clear end time signs today that have never been here before, as far as I know. Like how insanely bright the moon is these days. Were there ever times in the past where the moon was crazy bright? It seems like in times past when people had prophecies. It wasn't stuff that everybody can just go out, like literally anybody can just walk out at night and see that the moon is so bright these days that casts off glare. You get these huge rings in the sky around the moon. This is just undeniable proof that it's different today. Anyways, let's keep going. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Man scarcity has definitely been a topic that keeps popping up. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, and the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. And that does sound like what would happen in very tumultuous times when governments are breaking down and every man for themselves. I feel like a lot of people will board up inside their house and not want to leave and hunker down. That's just what that reminds. Every house being shut up just seems like times of total panic and no trust of anybody. And I think that it will be a point where you can't trust anybody in the very end when all hell breaks loose. There's just so much programming out there that it's going to be like a total free-for-all, and people are going to be looting houses and trying to get spoil, and you'll have psychos with guns. And so I believe in rapture. I'm a strong believer in rapture, and I pray that me and my family get to escape it, because I think when the heavens open up and Jesus comes down in the clouds and they have to play it off as an alien invasion, I think it's going to get really bad. Like, you think that it's bad now, it's going to get so much worse. So I believe in rapture, and I pray that me and my family and a lot of you can escape what's going to happen after rapture. I think that's people's last chance. After rapture, that's your last chance to figure out the deception, or to stick up for what you know is right and reject the world. Because there's so many people out there where you're like, man, you're still asleep. That's really sad. And it almost feels hopeless, but rapture, if you can live through rapture and you're still taking the mark of the beast and all that stuff, you can't say that God didn't give you enough chances. Okay. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me! The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously, yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass, that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. Some great flat earth Bible verses, the windows on high. That is going to happen. The sky is going to open up like a scroll being rolled up. And we know that there's windows on high from Noah's Ark too, Noah's flood. And there's doors in the deep too. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion, and in Jerusalem, before his ancients gloriously. So interesting. I wonder if that verse 22 is talking about the whole Armageddon, Apollon battle in Revelation. Well, I'm very interested to see your comments. Definitely look through the videos and read the comments. People have left some cool points of interest for researching. I forget the name now. I was going to mention them. Maybe I'll mention in one of the videos at the end some cool things to research. Valley of Vision in a place called France. A place called the Valley of Vision, I believe, in France. Seems very mysterious. There's not a lot of info on it. It seems like France kind of gatekeeps this area, and there's a lot of cave paintings. A lot of cave paintings are fake. It's somebody did it in like the 70s or whatever. Like the Les whatever ones in France, I'm pretty sure is a hoax cave site, but it could be to distract from real ancient cave paintings. I, of course, don't believe in cavemen. I think that's a lie. But I believe in ancient petroglyphs, but it's going to be hard to... There's going to be fakes. But anyways, research a place called the Isle of Vision, I think, in France. But most of the information is only in French, which is very interesting. And they don't translate it to English, apparently, most of the times. Maybe it's something I should research. I actually speak some French, so. What else? Somebody mentioned something cool in Africa, the Eye of the Desert in Africa. Maybe that's what it's called. But there's a very strange circular place in Africa that seems interesting, and there were a bunch of artifacts. I guess it was on my Atlantis video, because when I did some research into this place, some people were saying, oh, maybe this was Atlantis. But I think that there are a lot of archaeological sites that it looks like there used to be a city and something just utterly leveled the city, just destroyed it. And so the old world buildings that we have today are just the ones that haven't been destroyed. And a lot of places have just been totally leveled by today. Anyways, maybe that gives you something to go research. Go flip through the comments on my last few videos, and there's been some interesting points brought up, places to go research, trying to put the pieces together of where are these places that Isaiah is prophesizing against. Hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everyone.